Hey folks, welcome back to Only Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about a book that does a ridiculously good job at combining cozy fantasy and horrific fantasy in a combination that really shouldn't work as well as this does, but it does. And of course, I'm talking about the forthcoming novel by C.S.E. Cooney, and that's Saint Death's Herald. This is a sequel to her Saint Death's Daughter, which was actually a World Fantasy Award nominated novel, which is how these books first came to my attention. And this book, in a nutshell, this book took everything I loved about that one and just ratcheted it up. Like, the premise of this book is very simple. Irradiant Stones has been freed from captivity. And Irradiant Stones, by the way, is Miscellaneous Stones' great grandfather. He's essentially a ghost, the ghost of a necromancer. And he's on a quest to return to life by any means necessary, more powerful than he ever was. Miscellaneous Stones, his great granddaughter, and the main character of these two books, is currently the greatest living necromancer in this land. And she is hot on his tracks in a race against time to trap him or capture him in some way to prevent his return. But few necromancers in history have ever been as wily as dangerous as the Radiant Stones, and she has more than her work cut out for her, and she's going to need all the help she can get if she's going to have a snowball's chance in hell of stopping him from returning to power and to life. So yeah, this is an arc I got for the upcoming book, and like I said, it just does a brilliant job of taking everything I loved about the first book and just ratcheting it up. The weird mixture of cozy and horror that these books have. So let's kind of unpack it all. First things first, this book is very plot driven. Like, it's very much a race against time as Irradiant Stones flees towards a potential source he can use to return to life, and Miscellaneous is hot on his heels, trying to they're essentially caught in a running battle, where they're using their magic and their power to kind of one up and escape, and he's trying to escape, she's trying to capture him, and they're essentially in a running battle across the land as he flees towards his source. And along the way, of course, Miscellaneous has she has some allies assisting her, which add their own context to the entire story. That's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Like, this is a relatively short book, but by no means is it a simple one. Because, like, even though I say this book is very plot focused, it also does take the time to flesh out characters, just to kind of examine the way that the situation is affecting different characters. Affecting Miscellaneous, who is essentially she's essentially caught in this life or death conflict with her mentor, her great grandfather, her ally, who is being torn from his family to assist her with this, with another ally who they pick up along the way, and just the life that he previously led before he was just captured and completely corrupted by the Radiant Stones. And the other characters, just the traumatic way and the traumatic way the events of the first book played out on them, and the way that their lives have changed since. Like, these things are all examined in this book in different ways, but at the same time, it is still very much a plot focused book. And when I say plot focus, I mean plot focus. Like, it's fast paced, it's action packed. There's plenty of imaginative sequences and scenes that just highlight the skill of these two very powerful necromancers. Like, they leverage the world around them, the gods that they worship, and these kind of things. It just some brilliantly thrilling, fun, entertaining sequences. Like, C.S.E. Cooney has a macabre imagination, and it's on display in this book. And it's on display in both the way that she leverages the cozy and the horrific. The cozy comes largely from Miscellaneous's personality. She's kind of a bright, cheerful person, which is amusing given that she's a necromancer, and she's also extremely fascinated with bones and these kind of things. But she's very personable and that kind of thing, and she has this. She just has this wonderful family bond with the people that she lives with and her niece. So that's kind of where the cozy element of the story comes in. And then there's the horror element, because Miscellaneous is very much a necromancer, and this book gets very much into the blood, guts, and viscera of necromancy and the things that they have to do, and the things that they use to perform their magic. Like it's both dark and charming at the same time. Often separate, often combined. Like and that's before we even get to the writing itself. Like C.S.E. Cooney, she just had a lot of fun writing this book, you can tell, because like there's different languages like that are constantly used over the course of this book as different characters interact. One of them is modern English as we would speak. One of them is just this archaic, florid, almost Shakespearean way of speaking. Another one is like this blue collar kind of down to earth kind of speech. Like it's brilliant. And then that's just the dialects that she leverages. And before we even get into her lexicon, because C.S.E. Cooney knows some obscure words and she does not hesitate to pull them out. Like I could not count the amount of times I had to stop reading this book and go Google a word to figure out what the hell this woman is even talking about. But it's just fascinating and engaging. Like it all contributes to the atmosphere and the vibe that this book gives. And it, even though like you have to spend the time to look up these words and all of that, somehow it keeps you fascinated, engaged with the story, and just wanting more. Like it's just good. It's just really good. That's kind of it. Like I said, this book, it just delivers on the promise of the first book. It's a wonderful follow-up. It did escalate things to the next level. Like the imagination in here is chef's kiss. Like it's just wonderful, really wonderful. I'm very happy. I make the point every year to read the picks on the World Fantasy Award, because it does introduce me like being able to discover books like these that are immediate favorites is a direct consequence of exploring that award. So just a wonderful story. I do think this is going to be a duology, so this book technically wraps up the series, but at the same time there are certainly threads that are left there that can be pulled on if another sequel were to be written. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's another book to come. But I do think this is a duology. Like, given the way this book ends, a duology feels like the right fit for it. So yeah, like just a wonderfully cozy, horrible book. Extremely macabre. I'm excited to see what else C.S.E. Cooney has in store for us. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this book. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.